biggest hurdle as a guitarist is also my accomplishment, and it's the fact that I play upside down. So yeah, sometimes it's hard, and then sometimes I can do things that other guitarists can't.
I could never play chords, but then I think that inability to really understand chord structures has like pushed me to like do other stuff on the guitar. In getting around the thing I couldn't do, I kind of like inadvertently learned to play really fast, like notey stuff, which people find impressive, but I'm like, I find being able to like know chords really impressive because I can't do that.
We always wrote like guitar lines that were way harder than what we could do, but at the time we always like wrote something really slow and then we could never play it live because it was like too advanced for our level. But I think that always like put us the level really high, so we had to rehearse like crazy.
I think I'm always writing slightly outside of my skill level. So I'll write something that I can't really play and I'll practice it a ton and I'll be able to play it by the time we record. And then like today, some of these songs we've never played live before. So the challenge of having written a part that's a little beyond what I know how to play, combined with a vocal part that is like a completely different rhythm and melody. Sometimes trying to join those two together winds up a struggle for me, but it's fun and I'm always excited to get better. And I think trying to write things that you don't really know how to do yet is the best way to get better.
What keeps happening is I keep writing bass lines that are quite complicated and fast and difficult to play, which is not blowing my own trumpet or anything, but then it's not meant to sound like that. But then the problem is, then when we play them live, like every day on tour, I'm like, why did I do this?
It's the only instrument that works in this particular way of like shapes. Like it's not linear. You're seeing it almost like horizontally. So that has been a challenge for me, is kind of figuring out where the notes are the same on the fretboard, where the notes are a half step apart, which is also different depending on the string that you're playing. It's a little bit more unique in terms of layout than a lot of other instruments.
I was never technically classically trained. I picked up bass like I was in a jazz class. That's when I started playing, a class of 9 students, and was kind of like handed the tools and like, here's our chords, here's what the strings mean, have fun. So the biggest challenge is kind of like navigating, see what works for myself, but also I feel like that is an accomplishment in itself, as far as like learning what works for me, like what sounds good to me, and just like always pushing myself to the next level.
Yeah, guitar is a really mysterious instrument, but I feel like that's part of the reason it never gets old, and you can always experiment with different tunings. I feel like that's a really satisfying thing about guitar, is just that you can make it into what feels like a lot of different instruments.
No formal training at all has been a big hurdle. I had like a long learning curve for like even kind of recognizing notes at all, or knowing how to play chords. It's kind of basic things, but I also didn't want to like take lessons and like become a really kind of traditional guitar player. Just wanted to do my own thing.
Recently has been to transition from acoustic to electric, because a lot of the music for me started on acoustic. And so the biggest hurdle I've had is like simple things, even like being on stage and like transitioning with my pedals and like just actually figuring out how to do it in a way that wasn't like awkward or like holding up the band. And then my biggest accomplishment with that is like just having the guts to do it. I did a She Shreds show in Nashville last year, and I played mostly on electric, and it was like, I was very nervous, but it felt really good to actually do.
The biggest hurdle, I'm kind of going through it right now, it's a bit of like writer's block. At one time you're really open to the world and, you know, and ideas, and then sometimes you're closed. And just like getting yourself to open back up again is a big hurdle. But then writing a song that you just love and are really proud of is just the biggest accomplishment ever.
I agree.
As we are Spanish and we sing in English and all this stuff, it feels like you can communicate things only with the guitar and everybody can understand it. So we really give importance to the solos. It's a great via of communication.
Before I started La Luz, I had never played a guitar solo before, and now I can't get enough of them. So that
your guitar solos on the record that we're about to put out are stellar.
Thanks. Yeah, well, your bass parts are amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I think just noticing growth has been really satisfying.